welcome to the Crafty Juniors craft session. Today we're going to be making a little elephant money box. Now the aim of these sessions is that you're going to be able to create something without having to go out and buy a lot of things. You can work together and create something wonderful out of some rubbish. Okay, so what you're going to need today is a milk bottle, some card, some fabric. If you haven't got fabric, you can do this with paper, old magazines, some PVA glue, some tape of some kind, scissors, a pen. I've got some little of those funny wibbly eyes here, but you don't need those. I just happen to have them off an old card. So let's make a start. First thing you need to do is take your milk bottle. You're going to take the lid off it, and I've marked this up. You're going to cut all around here. So these bottles are quite thin these days, so if you just kind of pinch in the edge of it, and you should be able to start cutting through. So this is a job probably for the adult. You need some sharp scissors for this. Make it cut through. Once you're through, you can then continue to cut round. Mine's collapsed on me. Okay, so you can continue to cut round until you have the base of your elephant. Okay, because this one is going to be a money box, we're going to need to cut a hole in it. So again, if you fold it, we have to crinkle it out afterwards. Make a little cut, and then you can cut out your little slit to put all your cash in, or anything else that you want to put in there. Okay, so this gives us our basic shape for our little elephant, so we can now get rid of that other part. See, that's the basic shape. You can see his trunk already. The next part, and this is where your youngster can help you, we're just going to put it down on a piece of card, and we are going to draw very roughly around our elephant base, like that. Okay, once we've done that, we can cut it out. So if you don't have a thick piece of cardboard like this, it doesn't matter at all. You can just use an old cereal packet, anything just to form a base. If you want to, you can put a couple of layers together maybe, make it a little bit thicker. As you can see, this is very rough cutting out. Okay, again, we can get rid of that piece. What we're going to do now, just get our tape, and we're going to tear some bits of tape off and attach. This is a little bit fiddly until you get your first pieces on. Just going to attach it to the bottom. We're going to go over all this with lots of glue and fabric, so it doesn't matter at this stage how neat this is. If you're a perfectionist, don't panic. You can neaten it all off later. Okay, so as you can see, just putting some strips around to attach our little elephant to his base so that your money doesn't escape. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're just going to secure that a little bit. Now I've got lots of fabric here, so we're going to get some strips. I cut some slightly longer strips of fabric. We cut some longer ones out just to get us going, so that we can attach this and make it nice and secure, so that when you're kind of fiddling around with it, it's not going to come undone. Now we use a lot of glue. on this one. So easiest way to do it, put the glue on. You're going to go over, we're just going to try and get a bit more of a firm join on this bottom part. So put the glue on, put your fabric on over it, like so, and then more glue on top. This is not a craft for those of you who don't like sticky fingers. I'm afraid it's a little bit of a messy one, but if you can't get messy when you're doing craft, when can you? Okay, so same kind of thing, it doesn't have to go over the tape, I'm just doing that. Okay, so we're just starting to build up a little bit of a layer around our elephant to keep it nice and firm. Okay, so glue on, fabric on. There we go, more glue. I didn't re-glue that one, did I? Okay, more glue. Piling it on. Now this is PVA glue, so when this dries it should all dry completely clear and it forms quite a nice layer on it. So just a couple more of these and then we're going to get on with the task of covering it entirely with fabric. Coming undone here. Add more glue. Right, okay, so you get the idea. We're just trying to make a little bit of a base here so it's nice and secure, so when you're passing it to each other, or you're both helping with covering it, that it doesn't all come undone. Creating a nice mess all over my table. Oh, nice big piece there. So you can do these any size you want really. I'd recommend starting off fairly big and then you can kind of go over them with smaller bits of fabric as you get into the swing of it. Okay, so that's our start. So we're going to now continue. So I've got lots of bits of fabric here. I have cut some little bits up so I can kind of get going with it, so you don't have to watch me going through the task of cutting bits of fabric. Now the good thing, this fabric's quite thin, so I'm using a cotton fabric. If the fabric's too thick, you can still do it, it just is a little bit harder for the glue to soak through. So I'm just going for something fairly thin. And you're just going to continue to build up your little elephant by covering it in pieces of fabric. So this edge bit at the bottom as well, you need to pay a little bit more attention to that bit. So let's get quite a few bits of fabric going over this edge to make it nice and strong. As I said before, you don't want your money falling out. It'd be a disaster. Got some little bits going on here. Right, we're getting there, so starting to get it covered. Getting towards the end of his trunk now. When you get down to the end, what you can do is just tuck the fabric up his trunk a little bit. Put a bit of glue up there, just poke that up, stick into my fingers, stick it to everything. Okay, so I put a bit of glue up the trunk, and I push it round, I can stick that up. Okay, so we've got our main elephant done. Just going to sort that out. When it starts to dry, we can trim it off, because when it dries you can actually trim the fabric a little bit easier. So what we're going to do now is just put it to the side there. Okay, we're going to make some ears. So to make the ears, we're going to lay 2 bits of fabric on top of each other. So I'm going for my kind of purple flamingos, because that's the obvious choice for elephant's ears. And the other side I'm going to do is just a plain red. So super messy again. We're going to lay them, so I put right side down. I'm just going to put some glue all over this. More glue. Put it into my nice and messy glue bit. Okay, and then I'm going to press my other fabric on top. Smooth it out. Okay, so I've now got kind of a double-sided bit of fabric. And we're going to cut out some elephant ears. So I've actually done a little template for myself, so I didn't end up doing something crazy. So mine have just got fairly large ears for an elephant, I guess. So I'm going to draw around my little template. Just like that. And the other ear. Oh, can't draw around. Okay, so draw around them. All very sticky. I'm just going to cut them out. So cutting through both bits of fabric. 2 elephant ears. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, with our elephant ears, I might actually even just put it in there. Right, we're going to get them so they're totally covered in glue. Okay, and I'm going to put them on red side forward. Okay, so I've put it on, and I've smoothed down the back here. So there's a big overlap bit, you can see there, big overlap bit on the back. Smooth that down, and I'm just going to kind of shape my little elephant ear a little bit so it sticks out. And then the same with the other one. Totally soaked in the glue, so it's going to be messy. Okay, same thing, slight overlap at the back, so sticking that on, smoothing it out. Now as these dry, they get a little bit kind of firmer, and you can shape them into a specific shape. These ones are very wet at the moment. Sort this trunk out. So any loose bits of fabric that are sticking up, just smooth them down, neaten it off. Okay, so we've got our little elephant. We're going to stick some eyes on him now. So I've got some of these googly eye things. Often get them on birthday cards. Always save them. Put them in a little pot, never know when you might need them. If you haven't got something like this, just cut out a nice piece of fabric or a piece of paper, piece of card, and pop your eyes on. Where's his little hat gone? Hiding. Okay, I'm going to pop his hat back on. So there we go. Putting the elephant's hat back on. And there you have your little money box. Now he's soaking wet at the moment, but as he dries, as I said, it will all go clear and smooth down. And you can just trim along that little opening, trim the fabric off, because it'll be have quite kind of stiff edges by then. Trim that off and make it all nice and neat. Okay, so there we have him. I hope that you've enjoyed that. It's probably time to go and wash your hands now. And I will see you next time for some more crafting with the Crafty Juniors.